What's going on, guys? Nick Lessigore here, Exit 12 Homebrew in the house. And I'm here on a slow day here at Exit 12 Homebrew. The brewery's closed, but I wanted to still make a video to show you some things. Look at that bad boy. The bubbles going up. This is the Honey Blonde Ale. What I think I'm gonna start doing, some folks ask about follow-up on the beers that I brew. I just really do the brew day and that's it, sometimes the kegging. I don't really do a tasting. I used to do a video series called First Taste, and I'm gonna continue that, but I'm also gonna utilize an element that I'm calling the 5-minute beer review, because nobody wants to hear anybody go on and on and on about a beer that they can't try, but they do just wanna know how it came out. So that's what I'm gonna do. The beers that I don't drink for the first taste are gonna be called 5-minute beer reviews, and then the beers that are technically a first taste, the first drag off of the first pour off of the kegerator will be a first taste 5-minute beer review. In any event, it's going to be a 5-minute beer review, hopefully. So this is the, as I mentioned, Weekend Mulching Honey Blonde Ale, utilizing the honey from my neighbor who I give my spent grains to. She gives them to her chickens. The beer finished at 4.6%. I ended up 6 points low on my OG. And if you remember, if you watched that brew day video, it's all related to the equipment profile I had. I made a mistake in planning and I used the wrong equipment profile. So I ended 6 points low on my OG. I ended 2 points lower than I was supposed to on my FG, 1.008, which is awesome. 4.6%, I was a little concerned. I usually brew this beer at about 5.1, 5.2%. The aroma on it is amazing. It does have that kind of grainy homebrew character, which I don't love, but you do get the floralness of the honey for sure. Yeah, it does have that really grainy homebrew thing, which I don't necessarily care for. It's not bad, I just can tell that this is a homebrew, and sometimes you get that may be related to a mash temperature. I'm not 100% sure. In any event, I'm gonna go in l'chaim. Yeah. You see the heads kind of sticking around, which is nice. I will say, for 4.6%, it's full of flavor. It's full of taste, which I really enjoy. You got that nice honey hit on the back end, the middle to back end. That floral kind of comes through. The bitterness is perfect. And so the more I give this to people and the more I try it myself, I think the more I like it in that 4.5, 4.6% range. I really do. And that means I think I'm gonna start trying to brew it for that. I like this beer. The only batch I didn't like, I think it was over 6%, and that was because of something that happened. And so that's what I think I'm gonna try to do, is I'm gonna try to brew this for the 4.6% range. So this beer, I've brewed this 9 times now, I think, and this is probably the batch that I like, not the most. For the ABV and the flavor, I like it the most, but I will say that there are other batches of it at that 5.2% range that I really enjoy. I will say, without that grainy kind of aroma, at 4.6, this thing's gonna be an absolute banger. I didn't plan on drinking on a Monday, but here we are. So I'm pretty sure that was under 5 minutes. This is, tried and true. Absolutely love this beer. I packaged up 12 cans and I sent them out to a couple of my buddies in the Homebrew Club, Brewtubers, www.brewtubers.com. Join us in Discord. And so, yeah, I'm really enjoying this. My father-in-law enjoyed his glass that I gave him when I went to see him this past weekend. So, with all that said, I did want to kind of provide some updates and talk about some other things. Health update, a few people have reached out asking how the weight loss journey is going. I have currently, probably the last, I'd say 2 or 3 weeks, I've plateaued at that 182 to 184 pound range. I'm looking for 175, so I still have some more work to do. I have not been as good as I could be on my diet. Nicer weather means drinking more, means charcuterie boards, means having a good time. But I am eventually I need to hop back on that bandwagon of kind of losing some weight, because I would like to get down to 175 by the time the summer ends. That's my goal. So still working on that. I'd like to be nice and svelte by the time I go to the Homebrew Brew Union in Asheville, North Carolina this year. Huge group of us going out. You should really think about joining the club, checking it out, and maybe coming along and joining us on the Brew Union. So that's my health update. I do have some footage I want to show. I transferred back a few months ago. This is older footage. I transferred the second batch of the Best Friends Pilsner. We are dry hopping this one on, I believe it's Talus hop hash. I could be wrong. I'll correct if so. But what I ended up doing was transferring it into a secondary keg because I didn't want it sitting on that yeast. And then I started the descent down to 40 degrees, and it's currently conditioning right now. Should be ready early to mid-July. But for now, I did transfer it over. So transferring over to that secondary keg, I got some footage once you check it out. Here's a sample of the Best Friends Pilsner. Oh, that smells nice. Really nice. Oh, really nicely malty. I'm going to take a gravity on this to determine if we should even be transferring or not. The tilt's reading 0.14. Hopefully it's lower than that. Finished at 1.013. And I should have read my notes a little bit better because really I don't want this thing to go down much more. I'm supposed to go down to 0.9, but I finished high. So I finished at 0.56. I'm at 0.13. That ABV is 5.6%, which is high for a Pilsner. It's on the higher end anyway. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to take it, and we're going to transfer, and we're going to dry hop. This isn't going to be the best taste test ever because I just brushed my teeth. I'm going into the city with my wife for the day, so that'll be fun. But why not? And also, it doesn't have the dry hop. So it's not a full representation of what the beer is going to be, but I will be able to tell, hopefully, if there are any off flavors. L'chaim. Yeah, I mean, just, yeah, very good. It's just very sweet. Has that Pilsner kind of flavor on it. Malty. That easy finish on the back end. Cleans off the palate quickly. The fresh Saaz hops. What can I say? What can I say? Okay, I got the spunning valve attached. I got my scale. We're gonna turn this bad boy on. Connect it. Let's see how this transfer is. Okay, we're filling up. Got some bubbles coming through the filters, which I don't care for. I'm trying to find a way to stand these up in a way that's gonna... Oh, you know what? I think there's bubbles coming through because I don't have pressure on the keg. That would be it. Let's try that. So we've stopped at 6 ounces. All right. Let's see. Okay, so this is struggling to pick anything up. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Thinking I may have a stuck. Something's clogged. Oop. Keep that closed. Okay, let's take a look inside. Okay, can't see much of anything because I'm so high up. Uh-oh. I think the dip tube fell. Let me bring you up. I think the dip tube fell off of the outlet. We're going to pull the dip tube off of this keg. It's already cleaned and sanitized. And we're going to put it on the other keg. And then we're going to have to put it back on this keg. Unless I want to fish out the dip tube. That's another option. Let's try to get this back out. This is really on tight, I can say that. All right, got it off. Gotta love it. It's always something. Things very rarely in homebrewing go smoothly. Okay. All right, let's try that. I had to dip my hand in it a little bit. Good thing my hands are clean, sanitized. So now, what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to use the floating dip tube on my fermenter. Again, good thing it's cleaned and sanitized. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay. So, let's try this. I just switch out dip tubes. Word to the wise, something to know for next time. In the event that my dip tube is even a little loose, don't use it. Don't use it. Let's try that. Okay, it's a little bit better. I'm getting a little bit of bubbles still. And it's pretty active over there, but it should hopefully settle out eventually. So I just stood them up. Oh boy, and then I'm gonna go fishing after this to get that floating dip tube out of the torpedo keg. But we're transferring. Okay, we are 17 pounds in, which is probably a couple gallons or so. As you can see, we have settled out. And the filter's already doing some work, picking up some trub, but no more bubbles, which is good. I think just setting these up right side up instead of hanging and also fixing the floating dip tube problem helped immensely. We're transferring. Okay, we're at 31 pounds, which means we're climbing up to 40, 41, which is where we want to be. Because this is going in a secondary, and ideally I'm not going to have much more fermenting to do, if at all. I'm going to get this as close to that 41 pound range as I can to get a full 5 gallons. Now I'm cleaning, or I'm sanitizing my scissors in my Idaho 7 hop hash package. You might be saying, Nick, why would you do that? Considering you just stuck your hand in the beer. Oh yeah, good point. Oh, that smells so good. The only downside, yeah, it's tough to break apart, these nuggies. I'd like to break them apart pretty well before I transfer, or before I dump them in the beer. Got 34 pounds. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And we are dry hopping. Come on. There we go. All right. There's the dry hop. Pop this bad boy on real quick. Okay. Boom. We've dry hopped with the Idaho 7 hop hash. That smelled phenomenal. And we're at 38 pounds, almost at a full keg. Yeah, that was a fun little transfer. Doesn't come without its hiccups, as is the case with most things in our home brewing life. So it is what it is. But I do think that beer is going to turn out very well, and I'm pretty excited for it. And it will be ready for when the guys come and visit in August. And maybe there'll be some new faces for you to check out when that video comes, which inevitably I will be making. And so speaking of videos, nice little segue, I wanted to talk about some planned changes to the channel that I want to make. Not to worry, I don't plan to be going anywhere anytime soon. I still want to make video content. It's great for the Homebrew Club, rolling in the sponsors and things like that. Also, people seem to enjoy the videos, which I also enjoy making and editing most of the time. The thing with the video making is that it can come and go. And so there's times where I post one video a month, and there's times where I post more than that. What I'm really trying to do, now that I'm getting getting into the swing of things, I got my split system, I got my sink, as I've been obnoxiously talking about in my videos. I've had them for a few months now, going on 2 months, and so I really want to start making consistent content. So my plan is that I'd really like to start making weekly videos. With that said, the way the hobby is with homebrewing, things just come and go. Nothing's consistent. My fermenters are full right now, and my kegerator's full. So there's only so much content that I can make. There's only so many times you guys can see me fill cans. There's only so many brew days of my, blonde ale, of my blueberry wheat beer that I can make that are going to be interesting. So I'm going to try to find ways to make it more fun for you guys watching, so you're not watching the same things. And I don't want to make the same content. I don't think anybody would enjoy that. With that said, there are things that I want to do. And from a fiscal standpoint, I don't know if it's worth it. So I want to get some input on what you guys think. I was thinking about, I've been watching some streamers that stream video games on YouTube. And it's odd. It's an odd fixation for me. It's a weird guilty pleasure because I don't play video games. But anyway, I was talking to one of them who has a really large following, and he kept mentioning that he uses licensed music. And so I looked into a couple of the companies he uses, and they're kind of pricey, right around that $120 a year range. And so I'd really like to do it. It would make it easier for me to edit, and it wouldn't take as much time to find music. I also wouldn't get those weird copyright notices when I'm uploading videos, but the reality is that it's a large expense for things I want to do. There's other things I want to do around the brewery. I want to put electric in. I'm getting a new stainless steel fermenter, maybe thinking about glycol. There's things that I want to do around the brewery. I need a stand for my record player. I need something to put a really cool piece of equipment that Billy Gamdu Brewing gave me that I'm going to be doing some cool video content on. So there's fiscally, I need to find a way to stretch the dollar. And so I'm open to doing this, but I want to get you guys' thoughts on if you think it would be interesting. Like if you'd want to, hear, what does the music do for you? I find that music helps relax me, especially when I'm watching videos. It does tie me into homebrewers' videos more when they have cool background music. If you don't think it's a value add, give your thoughts in the comments. I'd really be curious to see what you think. And then lastly, one camera. It's a good camera. It's the Canon B80 or something. It's a really nice camera. I got it a while ago and I really enjoy it. But it's also just one camera, so I can only get into the kettle so far. I can only angle the camera so much, is what I mean to say, when I'm pitching the yeast or when I'm mashing in. And so I was thinking about purchasing a GoPro. Slapping it attaching it to my chest, to get some cool looking views, a second angle, if you will. Do you think the extra angle is needed? Is it something that you find more interesting if I have different angles to the videos? I have done videos before with BrewTubers where I have a second angle. I've done videos before with Billy when we're tasting a beer, or a brew day when I have the Zoom recording on my laptop and I got this camera going. I haven't necessarily seen an uptick in the amount of views, but I want to get your thoughts. What do you think? Is that something that you think would be more interesting to watch? New music, new camera angles, more than one camera, things like that. Really things I'm considering as I'm trying to find ways to innovate with my channel. So wanted to get your thoughts. In any event, you've stuck with me this long in the video this week. Some of the videos will be like this. I'll be tasting videos and doing those separate videos as to try to keep that once a week. I find if I can be more consistent, maybe my number of subs will go up and my number of views will increase as well. So that's kind of the plan, trying to find ways to get this brand out to more people, while understanding that homebrewing as a hobby isn't the most popular right now. Hopefully it will, pick back up. In any event, look at that. I'm a hand talker, so I know I've been talking, but the head's sticking around on there. That's pretty sweet. In any event, I'm going to finish this beer. I'm actually going to go and edit video, and we'll catch back up with you. Some things we got going on. I have going on here in the brewery. I'm planning on doing a batch of my blueberry wheat beer, and I want to use fruit puree, and I'm probably going to go with Oregon Company fruit puree. I've heard great things about them, and so I may do that and go a little light-handed because I do want to add real blueberry to the beer, see how it comes out. And it's summertime. Even though the weather right now doesn't seem to really reflect it, it is technically summertime. And I want to get some nice crushers on tap. And that's like a sub 5% beer. So that, and then, some other cool videos I have coming down the pipeline as well. I got an experiment video. I brewed for the experiment. It was an amber ale video, and I'll give you more detail about that in the video. But yeah, some cool content is coming out and some cool content is already out. So check it out. Thanks so much for watching. L'chaim.